the organ of speech, occupies a middle position in this regard. We only learn to speak after birth, of course. But that is really just an illusion. Here on this earth, we adapt our speech organs to human language. Between death and rebirth, we assimilate the logos, the cosmic word, incorporate it into ourselves, and our whole organ of speech and singing is elaborated from this cosmic language. In truth, the cosmic language, the logos, forms our larynx and our whole speech and singing organ. We forget the universal logos as we incline toward earth and pass through the embryo stage. But what has pushed itself down into the unconscious realm is refreshed and reawoken when we acquire human language. But in this human speech, basically, we can hear both earthly qualities and what the Spirit has shaped. In the consonants, we adapt ourselves to the forms, the configurations which the external world presents us with. In vowels, on the other hand, we voice our inner experience. Each vowel expresses an inner quality. The vowels are an echo of our community with the spiritual hierarchies. We bring this with us, bear it into earthly conditions, and it remains in us as the manifestation of our own being. In consonants, on the other hand, we adapt to the outer world. The world of consonants is an earthly one. If we could imagine a language consisting only of consonants, it would be a language which an initiate would tell you relates to the earth. If you wish to have more of a heavenly element, you would need to add the vowels. But watch out, for then you become responsible to the divine realm, which cannot be treated so profanely as the consonantal realm. In recognition of this, the ancient Hebrews only indicated the vowels in their script, writing the consonants alone. Basically, heaven and earth resound together in our speech. And here, once again, we see how we have something that belongs to our middle realm, and is, as it were, oriented in two ways, toward both the heavenly and the earthly. The head is entirely oriented to heaven, the lower organism to the earth, but the latter strives toward heaven, and to such a degree that it actually becomes it, once we have passed through the gate of death. Our middle sphere, which includes breathing, along with speech and song that are carried on the flow of breath, connects heaven and earth. This is why this middle sphere is in every respect the disposition in us primarily inclined to artistic expression, to the uniting of heaven and earth. And so we can sum up by saying the following. As we observe the developing human being, we find he is born without any orientation in the world. He is born with the potential to relate to gravity, something he acquired prior to birth, when gravity prevailed over his organism. You see, one thing we only learn fully on the earth is to adapt what we acquired in pre-earthly existence to the earth's gravity. The second thing, as we learn to speak and sing, is to adapt to our earthly surroundings. And then we also learn to think. We are born without any orientation toward walking or standing. We are born without speech. And we are also born without thoughts. One cannot, you see, say that infants can already think. These three things we learn fully only on earth. And all three are the metamorphosis of other capacities we possessed in pre-earthly existence. All three of them are living memorials to the spiritual disposition laid down in us in pre-earthly life. We have our most outstanding corporeal abilities as a transformation or metamorphosis of something spiritual. What spiritual attribute do we have on earth? Sensory perception. The fact that we can hear, smell, taste, and so on, everything involved in sense perception. The ear originates in the harmony of the spheres. It is formed so strongly from the harmony of the spheres that it remains safe from gravity. And the way the ear is embedded in its fluid is to protect it from gravity, so gravity cannot get a purchase on it. The ear is really not a citizen of the earth, but a citizen rather of the loftiest spiritual world. So are the eye and the other sense organs. If we consider the body in walking, speaking, singing, and thinking, we find a metamorphosis there of the spiritual realm in pre-earthly existence. Metamorphoses of the most sublime spiritual realm of pre-earthly existence. Here our anthroposophic science of the spirit connects with Goetheanism, with things Goethe was already aware of. But it also takes it further, entirely in keeping with the spirit of Goethe. I have often quoted Goethe's phrase about the eye being formed, quote, by light, for light, close quote. This is true, but it is not formed by and for the light we actually see. The light we see could never create the inner formative powers for an eye, EYE. Take a human countenance, its noble brow, the jutting nose, the eyes and whole physiognomy. Then add gestures. We might record all this by some device, but this would only give us its shapes and forms. But if we look at a person before us, we are not content with the spatial discernment of form. Instead, we look through the spatial forms and movements of a person's gestures to the soul at work in them. Sunlight reaches us. There is the sun outside us, and sunlight shines down. That is the external aspect, behind which is hidden the other aspect, the spirit of the sunlight. And it is in this soul and this spirit that we dwell between death and rebirth, where light is something different. When you speak of someone's glance or look and are speaking of a soul quality that reaches us through their eyes, you are really speaking of something that lies behind the eyes in the realm of soul. And if I speak of the spiritual quality in light, this is the soul of light. An eye, EYE, that already exists sees the external aspect of light, its physical property. But the eye itself is formed by the spirit, the soul by light, by what underlies or lies behind it. And so, if we have really understood what Goethe means, we ought to say, the eye sees the light, but is formed, created by the soul and spirit of the light, before it acquires physical corporeality here on the earth. The whole human being presents us with reconfigured spiritual essence that passes back again into a spiritual condition.